Hello and welcome! It is round one of the Super League Championship group stage. I'm Randy Bueller, joined by Sean McLaren. We're getting to watch Raptor. That's Josh Utter-Leyton taking a mulligan, unfortunately, trying to show off what this Mentor-flavored Jeskai deck can do, while Chris Pikula has gone with the trusty green-white Megamorph. What do you think of these hands, Sean?
They're both kind of problematic hands. They're both problem hands. Like there's the Magmatic Insight and not exactly enough lands to be happy about it that I was talking about.
Sure.
And Chris is also having issues with not enough lands.
Yeah, he needs a second green source for that avatar. He needs a third land in general, but he'll settle for Hangerback. Seems like he's maybe in a little better spot than Josh so far.
Yeah, he's still able to cast Hangerback and Dramoka's Command, which is like one of the most backbreaking things you can be doing in the early game. Is like, say, Dramoka's commanding Mantis Rider on turn 3 is one of the best things you can do. Although we're not going to see a Mantis Rider here. And there's the forest.
There you go. And here comes Avatar of the Resolute.
Yep, and it's going to be 3/4. So already we're seeing the power of the Avatar.
So the Avatar, if you've got a creature with a +1/+1 counter already, it gets an extra one. Is that how it works?
It's for every creature with a +1/+1 counter.
Which Josh can kill Hangerback as a response here, right? He can fetch for a mountain and impulse away the Hangerback.
Yeah, if that was he might be contemplating what to do, because his plan wasn't to kill the Hangerback. Otherwise, he would have done it before he could get a counter on it.
But now
I think he was planning on killing it with Kolaghan's Command.
And probably not even fetching a mountain then, right? He was probably going to get, I mean, potentially even get a dual land there. But Avatar of the Resolute changes his plans. Raptor does get the mountain, does kill the Hangerback. Still seems totally fine for Pikula. 2 Thopters and a 3/2.
Yeah, the board is already getting out of control. and Josh's removal would not have lined up well against the 4/3 Avatar until he got Spell Mastery for the second Fiery Impulse. But now it does. Now everything dies essentially to the 2 damage removal.
Does he take a turn to Monastery Mentor first? Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what he's doing, but it's going to run into Dramoka's Command.
It feels like a spot where Josh maybe had to. Like, he's falling behind quickly enough, and he really doesn't want a second red source, so he's kind of only killing 1 thing a turn. I think this was a gamble that Josh had to take to run this Mentor out, cross his fingers, and hope he gets to untap. But Chris does have the Dramoka's Command. Bang! Yep. Down goes Mentor. And crunch. Here's 6 damages.
And Josh is going to be hard pressed over the next few turns to just deal with the board. And there's a Wingmate Rock and 2 Den Protectors waiting in the wings.
No 5th land, but sure. And I guess if Josh does 1 more spell, then he's got Spell Mastery on Impulse. But all of his spells are red, and there's still only the 1 red source.
All of his spells are Magmatic Insight, and he doesn't have any land.
That too.
Like I was saying, one of the weaknesses of the deck. I would actually like to see 27 lands in the Magmatic Insight deck. I think Josh is only running 26, but I mean, obviously it's not looking good this game. A lot of the games you just cycle a land into more lands as well.
So it's Kolaghan's Command, regrow Mentor, and kill a Thopter. Seems reasonable.
And he's sort of playing to win here, getting back the Monastery Mentor and hoping that it can survive long enough to get him back in this game.
I mean, if he draws a mountain, he's in pretty good shape, right? Because he's now got Spell Mastery for the Firing Impulse, now that the command joins that first impulse in the yard. We do have a little bit of lag on Josh's hand cam. You can see there's the Mentor that he got with the command, and now he's drawn Evolving Wilds. Not quite the untapped red source he wanted. Or I guess the untapped anything source would have worked there.
Well, it comes into play untapped.
Thanks. I stand corrected. Sort of.
And here it looks like he's just going to impulse. He's got to decide between killing the 4/3 or the probably Den Protector.
Yep. I mean, if he kills the Den Protector, he's looking to drop to 2. Maybe that's okay. Kills the Avatar.
And a land off the top. Pretty much opens up all the options for Chris.
Yeah. He can flip Den Protector. He can play Wingmate Rock.
He can play another Den Protector.
Or the card he gets back. Yep.
Since they know the list, there might just not be really any answers to a Wingmate Rock in Josh's list.
Yeah, the players do have each other's deck lists. We published them on the website earlier today, so everybody has the ability to look at what exactly their opponent is up to.
So I'm sure that's what he's thinking about. It looks like Josh has sort of not really many good answers, but there's 2 Exert Influences. But first of all, that would require another land, and second of all, Exert Influence isn't even that great against Wingmate Rock. Just deals with half a rock.
Surely the blocking will work out just fine for the other half, right?
Yeah.
Those are main deck Exert Influences, though. 2 in the main.
Yeah, and Exert Influence is great for winning sort of the mid-rangey removal wars where everyone's trading removal.
Yeah, I mean, if Josh did tap out for an Exert Influence next turn and still have a Wingmate, Chris still has lethal on the board, right? 3 from the Den Protector, 1 from the Thopter. The Wingmate, all it can do is block the other half, so yep. Exert Influence, not an issue here. Chris goes for the Wingmate Rock, and yeah, those 2 3s, those 2 3/4s are more than Josh can deal with. Game 1 to Chris Pikula.
And sort of a kind of a awkward game for both of them, but Chris just barely had enough lands when he needed them, and Josh didn't.
Yeah, Chris's draw, I feel like, is one of those draws that looks awkward on turn 1 and 2, but then it just all works out. I guess he didn't have the option of the Avatar on turn 2, but how do you think sideboarding impacts this match now that we're watching it? Chris showing us that the Wardens are out and the Nisses are out.
This is kind of a matchup where most of the cards are pretty medium for both players. Like Josh is gonna bring in the Dragonlord Silumgars as a gigantic trump in the late game for stealing a Gideon and then minusing it, or stealing like a Wingmate Rock, half of a Wingmate Rock. He's on the mind control plan with the Exert Influences and the Silumgars.
Makes sense. Chris has got 5 lands, Nissa and Hangerback. Josh has 1 card off to the left of his hand, which is a Magmatic Insight. 2 land once again. A Seeker. Both draws seem flawed.
Josh's draw is actually great because it has Jace in it and he's on the play. So Jace is going to smooth this draw out real nice. Whereas Chris is just crossing his fingers to hope to not draw more lands, basically.
Well, he drew Dromock his command so far. Not fast enough to kill Jace, though. Or at least not before it loses Summoning Sickness anyway.
That's pretty much the best start in Standard, is turn 2 Jace on the play. It is threatening to be killed by the Dramoka's command, though, with the Hangerback, which is also a very threatening start. There's some good starts in this format.
Chris continuing to draw spells. Gideon has now joined the party. Jace is into land, which is kind of exactly what he wanted.
Yep, that's definitely what he wanted. Lots of land. He'll be able to Magmatic Insight and potentially have some options here. He can keep up Murderous Cut. He can see what he draws. There might be something better.
Yeah, it looks like he goes for the leaving up Murderous Cut. And that Delta can potentially find him a white source via Prairie Stream, I guess.
And Chris has drawn good. He's hasn't just drawn a couple lands off the top, so this hand is looking real nice now. And now he's got to decide, is he going to go for the Dramoka's hand?
And he does go for the Dramoka's command. He's kind of going to get blown out by Murderous Cut here, though, right? Well,
kind of. Not.
Yeah, kind of.
Get two 1/1s out of the deal.
But he'll fail to kill Jace.
Right.
Maybe not a blowout. I guess cut trades for charm. It still feels like a 2-for-1. Cut kind of trades for charm, half a Hangerback and some Jace defense. Willing to call that a blowout. Stand by my call.
All right.
You've seen bigger blowouts. That's fine.
Oh, yeah. I've been blown out much harder than that. And now he's going to have access to the mana that he wants, or at least untapped battle lands now. And he'll be able to flip Jace if he wants.
Yeah, he fetched out a basic there, so now this polluted Delta can get any battle land he wants. Well, any blue or black battle land anyway. And conveniently puts card number 4 into the yard, where this Jace activation puts a 5th card into the yard, and Jace's Planeswalker Spark will ignite. Now what? Up, he says.
Now he's holding off the Thopter tokens every turn. He pluses and then takes 1, and then pluses and then takes 1. And he's just going to keep getting ahead, flooding the board with his creatures and threatening to Treasure Cruise next turn.
Gideon for Chris and makes an ally. The unshrunk Thopter chips away, keeping Jace back to 5.
Looks like a Jace versus Gideon battle, which you see a lot in Standard. Josh is ahead sort of because he's acting first. He got his Planeswalker first. He's going to get to dictate the pace of play here with this Treasure Cruise. If it whiffs, that's another story, but if he finds something good, he's going to be able to start pressuring the Gideon.
Now we can all curse to lag on Josh's hand cam.
Yep. 3 mystery cards.
There you go. An impulse and 2 lands.
Not the greatest.
It's enough to let Seeker attack without any risk of losing it.
Yeah, but it's not going to get to... Oh, actually, he might be able to kill the Gideon here. If he Fiery Impulses and then has enough to cast the Murderous Cut, he'll be able to eat the Gideon, which has got to be the play.
Meanwhile, don't forget Josh played that second Jace, and because he treasure cruised his entire graveyard away, he gets to use that one as a Murph uprooter here. So Evolving Wilds has turned into a card which is still a mystery to us. Now, he does have the mana for an Impulse and a Cut. Mystery card looks like a Flooded Strand. So Impulse the ally, Cut the Thopter, all those prowess triggers, and Seeker can, in fact, take down Gideon.
Yeah, and that's a big tempo play. Even though it doesn't leave Josh with really anything in hand, he's still got the Jace threatening to bring back Treasure Cruise. And oh, well, I guess he dealt away the Treasure Cruise, so...
Yeah, just the cut.
He does get to keep looting with the second Jace, though.
Yeah, and Josh's hand at this point is the two lands. Down comes Nissa for Chris.
Which is, I guess, still 2 turns away from flipping. And the Jace can kill it if it wants, but it doesn't need to at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The Jace can flashback Murderous Cut to kill it.
Yep. Wow. Dragonlord Silumgar and Dragonlord Outcast have been the last 2 draws. Dragon Master Outcast.
Are those good? Are those good cards when you're just hitting 6 mana?
I'm gonna go with yes. Do you just?
Unfortunately, the Silumgar is too good for this board. It can't steal the Nissa and flip it, because that just will give it back to Chris. So he's got to just be satisfied casting Dragon Master Outcast.
Just Dragon Master Outcast at 6 lands against green white. That's all.
Yeah, and this game is completely spiraled out of control. It's hard to imagine how Chris comes back from this one.
Well, Wingmate Rock's not a terrible start. Silumgar seems like enough of a trump. Oh, by the way, all those 5/5 dragons. Yeah, I'm with you. Hard to imagine creeping.
Yeah, I mean, the Wingmate Rock's something, that's for sure.
Among his best possible draws. But yeah, Dragon Master Outcast, spitting out 5/5s. Oh wow, he just drew a second one, or is that still the lag on the hand cam?
Turns out dragons are better than birds.
Makes sense.
I know that's what R&D does, is make sure the creature types are balanced to be power and toughness representative of their creature types.
It comes up. It is a thing there's the occasional conversation about.
It's just a matter of how fast Josh wants to win now, basically. He wants to make sure nothing goes wrong. So probably killing the Nissa and waiting might be a good play, but he could also get aggressive and just steal Wingmate Rock.
I mean, if he flashes back the Murderous Cut, he risks losing his Jace, right? His Planeswalker Jace will be at 3, where it can be attacked. I mean, Chris would lose half his Wingmate Rock to the dragon, but...
Yeah.
Now, can he both... He can both cut and also dragon, or no?
6 is actually a good loyalty for Jace to be at. That's a common play, is to go -/- and then flip your second Jace. So it looks like that's what he's going for.
All right, he did go minus. I presume it's the cut that has flashback, and now Seeker can attack, threatening to pick up a prowess trigger at a moment's notice.
Yeah, he's threatening 2 prowess triggers because otherwise he wouldn't be able to kill a Wingmate Rock. If Chris blocked, he would cast the cut and the fiery impulse. And it looks like that's what he's doing anyways.
There is Murderous Cut. Down goes half a Wingmate Rock. Now you just fire off Fiery Impulse now, deal with the Nissa, and get an extra prowess trigger, right?
Yeah, there's no better time to kill Nissa than when they're on 6 lands. Fiery Impulse isn't getting better than that.
Chris continues to draw cards that at least keep him intrigued in the game, I guess. So far behind, though. He's been going through the motions for a couple turns.
Yeah. I mean, they're not lands, but this hanger back is definitely not enough to get him back in the game.
The 5/5 dragons keep coming from that outcast. Second Jace keeps looting. Did not really get to see the Monastery Mentor portion of Josh's take on Jeskai this game.
No, but this was the dragon portion of the game.
And the turn 2 Jace portion.
Yeah, that's also good.
All right, Chris untaps and draws a land, and he has seen enough. So players are going to head to their sideboards for game 3. We're going to have one game to see who scores first in the group stage of the Super League Championship. Josh and Chris looking at their sideboards. Josh is he's sideboarding, I promise. It's the same lag on the hand cam that we were seeing before.
Yep.
Pretty big. Go ahead.
We'll see if they change anything up. It looks like Josh is keeping things the same.
Chris is thinking about it. I don't know what he would change.
You might want to get a bit more aggressive on the play, he's considering. Looks like he's eyeing the Mastery of the Unseen, which it would be reasonable to side out based on how that game played out. Like, Mastery is great in the long games, but when you have to deal with a bunch of dragons, it's not so great.
Makes sense. All right, here we go. Game 3. It's a Group A match. The other 2 players in this group are Paul Rietzel and Li Shitian.
Looks like they both have reasonable hands here.
There's a Flooded Strand on the left of Josh's hand.
Chris's hand is very removal heavy, which is probably going to match up well against Josh's creatures. So it might come down to if Chris can find like a Gideon or a good threat pretty early on here. It's going to get to Avatar and then just cast removal spells, basically.
Josh led with Bloodstained Mire for basic Mountain. Oh, and so he could have Fiery Impulse up. I was like, why didn't he play the Evolving Wilds? Oh, I see. He wanted to be able to get untapped red. And yeah, there was a perfect target for it. So End Step Impulse.
That allows the coast to be semi-clear for Jace, at least not threatened by Dromoka's command.
Precisely. He doesn't go for Jace, goes for Seeker.
All right, well, that's going to work out.
I mean, you could smell a Silk Wrap, right? I mean, there's a lot of Silk Wraps floating around this format. He's basically saying to Chris, hey, how about, here's a Silk Wrap target for you.
Come and get it.
And Chris declines. It's a nice little interplay there.
Yep. And there's the Silk Wrap target.
Yep. That was the one we were waiting for.
Ooh, and a Gideon off the top. That's a huge draw.
It's got to be Silk Wrap first, right?
Yeah, which obviously looks kind of awkward. Oh, I'll just play this 2-drop removal spell to kill your 2-drop rather than this
4-drop
Planeswalker. But that is Jace. Can't really afford any loots. And
yeah, any fetch land means that loot would have also flipped him, so.
He's getting close to casting Quarantine Field for 2, which would be pretty big if it gets 2 juicy targets.
Josh's hand at this point is a pair of Dragonlord Silumgars. Dragonlord Silumgar is kind of licking his chops about the possibility of stealing a Gideon here.
Right, and Chris is just worried about playing his Gideon and having it die to that Seeker.
To the Seeker, sure.
And multiple spells. And it looks like he's going to hold off until he has a better opening. Maybe with Dromoka's command involved with a ally token.
Sure, 6th land will let him make an ally and have Dromoka's command up. 6th land is also Quarantine Field for 2 territory. Josh content to just play an Evolving Wilds and ship the turn. Chris draws Death Mist Raptor. But probably on this Gideon plus Dromoka's command line, right?
He might just be inclined to Death Mist Raptor here, since he didn't want to play Gideon last turn, but I guess he's going for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think having the 2 mana for the Dromoka's command helps.
Yeah, it provides a lot of extra protection. It means Josh really has to act first and risk getting blown out.
Precisely. I mean, Chris can just block a Seeker, and it's on Josh to respond if he wants to trigger Prowess, but then Chris can respond to that. So Josh would have to have 2 responses to come out ahead in that trade. And he still might not kill Gideon.
A land off the top would allow... Ooh, it is a land.
Hello!
Gonna steal Gideon and minus it?
Yes! How? Absolutely! Steal Gideon, make a Gideon emblem... Then you even get to attack with Seeker, because it's a 3/3 now.
Seems pretty good.
Does. Dragonlord Silumgar, steal your Gideon. We talked about the light black splash in Josh's Jeskai deck. None of this Crackling Doom, Tasigur, Dark Jeskai stuff. Just a couple of Murderous Cuts and then Dragonlord Silumgar that he can bring in from the sideboard. Man, this is the dream with Silumgar.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's definitely the dream. It's Chris's nightmare, of course.
And then immediately, -4 for an emblem.
Probably just going to kill the Seeker. I mean, he might want to just Quarantine Field them both.
Oh, sure.
Best option.
Chris deciding whether to fight Seekers or response to this emblem activation or wait and use his Quarantine Field.
Yeah, I like this play. You want to get as much value off the quarantine field as possible.
Is going to
And
take 3.
yeah, the 3 damage isn't hugely relevant.
Yeah, not really where this particular game's going to be won or lost. Josh is tapped out. Down comes Quarantine Field for 2.
And this is a great draw for Chris, or so it would appear. But I mean, there's another Dragon Lord in Josh's hand, and stealing Nissa after it's flipped is pretty good.
Josh on cut, Radiant Flames, the Dragon Lord, and whatever his draw for the turn was. It was a Monastery Mentor. That seems good.
Yeah, that's...
The emblem is like a permanent prowess trigger for all of the monks that might come to play.
Yep.
All right, now how does Chris play this? He drew a Den Protector.
Yeah, he's really up against it now. I assume he's flipping Nissa this turn, or trying to, because that's one way he gets back in this game.
Mm-hmm. Nissa comes into play.
The question is Josh just going to kill it or steal it? And it looks like
I think you get a monk token for killing it, so I like kill it. Goes for the cut as a response to the go get a land trigger. Makes a monk. But, Chris can respond with Drumika's command, and can he actually kill this mentor? He can. Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nifty.
So he put a +1/+1 counter onto the Nissa because it hadn't died yet to the Murderous Cut. The 3/3 Nissa then fought the 3/3 Monastery Mentor, and they all went to the graveyard.
And he gets a forest out of the deal.
Does get a forest out of the deal. Game on. Chris on Den Protector, Deathmist Raptor. Josh on Radiant Flames, Dragonlord Silumgar. Chris also down to 8, so I guess he's losing. Oh, Treasure Cruise off the top for Raptor.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it appears Chris can struggle back into it with the Den Protector, but Treasure Cruise definitely changes things. Especially since this puny 1/1 monk is like gonna be 3/3. Gigantic.
Wow. Oh, geez. And Treasure Cruise found him a replacement mentor. Huh.
There's gotta be a mentor for the students, right? I mean...
Yeah, I guess. Now what, Chris can Den Protector, flip it for Drumika's command, kill the mentor? Is his line? But the mentor is a 3/3 thanks to the Gideon emblem, so he would lose his Den Protector in that fight. Or he'd lose his ally. Yeah, I guess you do that, right? Den Protector, flip it, Drumika's command, ally trades with mentor?
I think
you see something better?
Well, I mean, it's Dramoka's command, so there's a lot of options. So it's
sure.
Definitely looking for like some good better option. Like he can attack first, I think.
Okay.
At least.
Just attack his 2/2 ally into a 3/3 mentor? Sure. He does. And so now if Josh blocks, all the Drumika's command would have to do is drop a +1/+1 counter onto that knight, and he'd still have the second ability to do something else with. Josh sees through this, does not block.
I don't think the Dramoka's command really was able to do much else, though. So it was basically 2 free damage.
Chris cashes in his 2 free damage. And on we play. And the Treasure Cruises certainly feel like they give Josh the edge here. His first one found a second one. And a Fiery Impulse. And that Mentor.
There's a lot of draws that just win the game for Josh.
Yeah.
If he had enough to cast Radiant Flames and Fiery Impulse and Treasure Cruise, he would win on the spot. So
Impulse takes down Den Protector. Triggering Prowess. Treasure Cruise. Triggering Prowess.
Get a chance to draw a 1-drop and win the game.
Did Treasure Cruise find a lethal 1-mana spell to trigger Prowess a 5th time? No. Chris gets another turn at 1, but versus an opponent who's played Treasure Cruise on each of his last 2 turns.
Yeah, drawing 3 cards is good. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, it's no dig through time, but it'll do.
I think it'll do just fine. Now, Chris has the ability to play blockers. Josh has the ability to kill things, steal things, or add Seeker to his board. All right, Death Mist and what is this, a 2/2 hanger back?
Looks like there's not going to be another way to get lethal this turn either.
Right.
Unless Josh draws something good. But I mean, Josh has the game very locked up at this point.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like he didn't draw anything that would end the game. Oh, Treasure Cruise. I guess drawing three more cards is also good.
Well, it's been 2 turns in a row. He wants to do it for a 3rd turn in a row. Yeah, this looks like Treasure Cruise. Did he draw something? The lag on the hand cam.
The suspense is better anyways.
You like it?
It's just going to be another Treasure Cruise. I mean, come on.
It's 2 lands and a Monastery Mentor. Now, come on. Don't tease us like that.
That's what Treasure Cruises do. They just draw more Treasure Cruises.
Yeah, Chris draws a forest. He's got nothing.
So Josh, considering whether going for the win here, which would work.
The win is Dragon Lord Cylinder to steal a blocker.
Yeah.
What is he risking if he does that?
Running into another Dromoka's command, fighting the Death Mist, or maybe something like a Stasis Snare.
His other line is just play out Monastery Mentor, say go?
It's not really all that risky, though, since even the worst case scenario isn't that bad for Josh.
Right. The worst case scenario is Chris has a way to trade cards with his one thing he drew off the top. So Josh does go for it. Here's Dragon Lord Silumgar. Stealing either of those blockers is, in fact, going to be enough to clear a path for Josh to deal the last fatal point of damage.
Yep. He just has to attack.
All right. You said the Jeskai Mentor probably had the advantage in this matchup. This played out kind of the way you said it would.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragon Lord Silumgars were huge all-stars here, and the Monastery mentors also did a lot of work. So, I mean, it was a large part due to the innovations in Josh.
There you go.
Back.
Josh Utter-Leyton wins 2-1. And that gets our evening off to a nice start. 2-1 win for Josh Utter-Leyton. Now, Chris Pikula is still totally alive in this tournament. He does have a loss, but he still controls his own destiny. He's got 2 more matches to play with that green-white deck. If he can knock off the other 2 players in his group, then he can still potentially get to the playoffs. Those other 2 players being Li Shitian and Paul Rietzel. Pretty tough group, but we'll have to see how it plays out. All right, next up for us is going to be the match between Cedric Phillips and Paul Cheon. So going to turn our attention to Group B, and we will be right back. Thanks for hanging out with us, Sean.
All right, thanks for having me. I'll be back later.
You've got a match to play as well? Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back with more Super League.